Fanfic Corner, presented by Jennifer. Next season, Chapter 2. Okay, if you haven't yet seen the first two videos for next season, I suggest you go back and view those now, as this is a continuation of that story. Hera watched Sabine, Zeb, Ezra, and Ryder through the micro binoculars until they crossed the horizon line, even when Kanan walked up behind her and waited pointedly for her to notice him. "They're not turning around, right?" he asked. "Nope, they're gone." "You don't even feel a little bit bad sending them all on a reconnaissance mission to get them out of the house?" "Kanan, we need the intel on that defender now." "But Hera, you did send all of them so they'd be out of the way, right?" She grinned her private "I'm not telling" grin, which would have been a lot more fun if he could actually see it. He seemed to get the idea, though, his lips twitching in a conspiratorial smile. "Chopper's recharging his fuel cells," she said. "He could really use the rest." "We could really use the rest." Kanan caught her hand, and a thrill went through her. It had been a while, and the last time, well, she knew what had happened the last time. "Oh, I don't know," she teased. "You're not up for something a little more active?" The wind rustled past them, blowing loose strands of hair all around his head, then whipping them back against his cheek. There was no other sound and no one around for kilometers. That goofy smile had spread across his face. "Yes, then." They said it without saying it. "Yes." She lifted the mask from his eyes, carefully, but dropping it, laughing when he picked her up and swung around to deposit her against the wall of the tower, safely away from the railing. His hands on her sides felt like she was so filled with adrenaline at the time it all
the time these days, half of her terrified that he'd know, the other half barely able to keep it in. Charged like a grenade. No wonder when he touched her she lit up. Maybe she'd tell him today. Maybe he'd do some Jedi thing and figure it out. Then his mouth was on hers, and they were kissing rough against the wall. Hera dragged him down with hands at his neck, his beard scratching her face. They didn't break off until both were out of breath. Then they touched foreheads together, her arms around his shoulders, leaning against him on tiptoes. "We should slow down," Kanan suggested. "We've got too much time to—" Hera cut him off, letting her voice drop into that husky register. "Yeah, I agree." "You are going to be the death of me," Kanan laughed, but he kissed the top of her head. The message was clear. "We'll slow down, then." So she picked up the mask. Then she took his hand and led him through the door, into the tower, dropping the mask by the rest of his travel gear as she went. It was good, so good to relax. "Leave the comms on in case they need us," he said. "Obviously." "Only one way only." "Kanan, that was one time, and it was 5 years ago." He grinned without apology, so she pushed him lightly back into the big cushioned chair against the wall. Kanan wrapped his arms around her. "What?" he asked. "I was about to ask you that. What was that look for?" "Hera, you're brooding on something." "That's usually my line to you." "What is it?" She opened her mouth, and no words came out. She tried to push them out of her throat, but it didn't work. "Nothing," she settled, trying not to wince on her own cowardness. "Uh-huh. You never say nothing unless it's a big something." "Kanan, everything's fine." "Hera." He kissed the top of her head. You keep secrets when something scares you and you don't know how to deal with it. We've talked about this. Let me help." She sighed deeply. "I can't right now. I don't know how to. I'll tell you soon, promise." He crashed in the couch soon afterwards, and Hera watched him sleep, open-mouthed and relaxed. She leaned in to kiss him on the cheek, and he didn't even stir. "Kanan?" she said quietly. Nothing. Not a hitch in his breathing. So she tried it out, leaning in close and whispering into his ear, "We're going to have a baby."